Society wants us to die, but yet still wants us to reproduce, only to die again. In parentheses, because I jotted down some notes, increase in numbers, reduce the numbers, repeat, and this is such a sick entertainment, close parentheses. It's true. It's funny how we are always encouraged by others as well, not just the government. And I say not just the government because the government will offer government assistance depending on the number of kids you have, but then it's only momentarily, and they can easily cancel it. They can easily like, you know what, I'm done helping this person, this family, and blah blah blah. They're by themselves, And then the whole time the parents thought, the government has always got our backs, there's barely anything to worry about. You thought. Ditch, you thought. B word, you thought. You dumb fucks. Especially looking at how this planet is, this planetarium, this planetoid is full of 46 chromosomes that are stewing and brewing and fermenting and writhing with hatred, myself included, because I've been fucked over one too many times, but I wasn't like this. Call it vengeful and all that. Yeah, in a way it is. But some people like us, we are not really to blame, Some of us are born with big hearts, big giver like the Big Dipper, generous as heck. And some of us are still like that, but we have to close it off, we have to keep it at bay for the fear of getting used again like last time, just like old times, and we don't want to go down that road. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. And then if we don't want to have kids, we get ridiculed. You are selfish. Life is so good that you should welcome your kids of your own genetics. You are selfish. How is it selfish when we are suffering and then we don't want to lay it on to others, aka our kids, aka bringing them here, and then we can lay it on them? But we won't lay on them because they are not here to begin with. Fucking cunts. Ever thought of that? Oh wait, your brains are corroded. Yeah, I forgot. Your brains are corroded beyond belief. It's so deteriorated that you can't think for yourself. That's too bad, You don't even try to save yourself and redeem yourself by reading in between the lines and seeing that things are not as they seem and it's not right and all that, and then think logically, rationally, idealistically, practically, pragmatically, and realistically. Or whatever, rationally, The 6 pillars. Why are you so hopeless for yourself? Why are you so hopeless towards yourself, and also for those that are close to you that don't want to have kids, but you want to betray them and backstab them and be two-faced and say that they should have kids, whereby they have seen you probably having kids and they see you struggling and they see you regretting, but you want to pretend like everything is fine and they should have kids. They're encouraged to have kids. Having kids is great, but you yourself over there is struggling, my friend. So what's great about it? And then you're gonna lay out your problems on your kids, So you wanna say that not having kids, bringing kids into this world is selfish? What you're doing is selfish. Yelling at your kids, calling your kids a mistake when you had the conscious choice, made the conscious choice, had the conscience to have kids. And you also had the conscious choice and the conscience to not have kids. Not subconscious, not unconscious. Full on, 100% authentic, original, conscious. You were wide awake like Katy Perry. I don't want to hear no bullshit excuse. And you never ever thought of it. Having kids will lead you down this road of having to do this, do that, do these, do those. Or you lay it all on your soulmate, your partner. You lay it on the mother. or or the mother lays it on the father, you know. And then it breaks the family, it breaks the household. What the fuck are you retards doing? The fuck? No, seriously, the fuck? Hello? Are you there? Knock knock, who's there? How are who? How are you? Lick my balls. Nana your business. Hello. The fuck do you just do? And then if you can't take it anymore, you're gonna put them up for adoption. The fuck? Or you're gonna put them in some toilet cistern, the septic tank, hoping they'll die, you know, when they're babies. Or leave them in a box somewhere, leave them on the front step of some place. You know, that's very cultish, that's very barbaric, that's very retarded, that's very evil, that's very sinister. That's the word I was looking for. Sinister. You know, especially you claim to be religious people and you're doing good and this and that. No, you're not. You're just following your animal instincts of survival, your authentic biological human instincts, nothing else, or not much else. And that goes to show that if you claim to be religious, that your religion is clearly evil, or you're going against it. You're doing it for yourself instead for your God, or whoever you worship, you know. That's funny. That's ironic. And then you say God is good all the time, you know. Just because you have God in your heart and whatnot, then you think everything is okay. No, you're just full of hatred, but you want something to forgive your hatred. Therefore you hate your kids. Therefore you lash out at them. Shame on you. Grown adults, by the way. Yeah, grown adults. Acting more like kids than their own kids themselves, which is ironic. Extra ironic. You know, and then you want to have kids because of government assistance. Oh, that very attractive money. You're fucking selfish. And then you have the audacity and nerve to say that people don't want to have kids are selfish when they can work for themselves and provide for themselves. And you can do that too, but you want extra money alongside the children that you're gonna bring into this world, unfortunately. You want to have that extra money from the government, which they can easily cancel. But even if they did, straight up, you still want to be a retard and bring more kids. You know? It's what I've always noticed when I was younger, but I never spoke out about it. It's why these impoverished people have a lot of kids, until my mom pointed it out. I mean, even when my mom pointed it out, even when she did, I still couldn't like wrap my head around it, you know, because I'm a slow learner, so I didn't really catch on. But she did mention that it is these poor people, these impoverished people, that has the most kids. And then I'm like, yeah, that's true. But I, for some reason, never saw anything wrong or whatever, you know, because I'm slow. But now I caught on. It's because they probably want government assistance and they want to cope. And they want their kids to help them, which is selfish, you know. Your kids are not your soldiers and all that, your pawns since the day they were born. And then they were filled with scorn and torn, damned and condemned. You know, you're fucking selfish. And I've also always wondered, some families, when the child is born, the father becomes sick, or the mother becomes sick, or they both become sick, or the father passes away, or the mother passes away, and worst case scenario, both the parents pass away. Then the child is an orphan. Now who's gonna take care of the child, you know? Conveniently, they become sick, or they pass away. Maybe you shouldn't have kids, you know? Maybe that's like a curse, you see? If your child had not been born, you would still be alive to enjoy the fruits, even the fruits of your labor that you favor, the flavor. But now you turn into vapor, you know? And then you're gonna have your paper taken or given to someone else. You know? Any of you notice this, how like what I said, when the child is born and then the parent or parents fall sick and then the child has to bear the responsibility. It's even worse if they have siblings. They have to take care of the siblings. They have to sacrifice their schooling life by working. You know, and then they are underage and all that, lots of problems, this and that. And then have to take care of the children, you know, they have to be the adults. It's absolutely retarded and selfish. You know, even those of us, some of us like myself as well, we have to grow up because we've been through hell. We've been through a lot. Or some of us have been through a few, but those situations were very impactful and very severe. Or some of us been through some amount of it, but not too bad, but you've still been through it. You know, and then we had to grow up too quickly. And then we have the inner lost child. And then we can barely keep up with life. And then these things have a long-term effect, and it affects us in the future. That's like a lot of us too, right? How some of us had it good and then it got taken away from us. We became an outcasted. We became foreign citizens of planet Earth. We became foreign citizens of our own respective countries, foreign citizens of our own families, you know, practically aliens. We became alienoids. We became marginalized, so to speak. All of these things, you know, put on our heads. It's like a bounty. Except there's no money on it, you know, it's just all these labels and whatnot. And then it spreads. If some people, especially popular people, sees you a certain way, it will spread like wildfire, like the Australian, South Korean, the California wildfire. It spreads, and then most people will see you that way. It's so retarded. It's like a hive mind, a drone. Hive mind. Literal drones. Clones. Where you say one thing and then the other repeats. One does something, the other repeats. Like a puppet, you know. You're like a puppet on the puppeteer string. Puppeteer strings. And you don't even want to help yourself by snipping those strings and free yourself. Fucking hopeless. And then they say, jump, you ask how high. They say have kids, then you have kids. You did not even think about the consequences. You know, if your beloved, you know, if you're a guy, your girl, your lady can pass away due to birth complications, you know, labor complications, maybe blood loss or whatever. Or the child could die too, being strangled by the umbilical cord. I mean, no, I'm not gonna say it because I fear that YouTube might take it down. Even though I probably said something already that I should not have said, but yeah, I'll stop it right there. Complications. And then you're gonna blame the child. You know, if your child survives but your beloved did not, then you're gonna say, it's your fault. You're gonna say it's your son or daughter's fault that your beloved died. The mother of your child died because she died giving birth to your child, both your child, and then you're gonna put it on your child. The child did not ask to be born, my friend. The child did not ask to be fucking born. What the fuck are you talking about, my friend? My amigo? My amiga? You're gonna put it on your child because he or she did not ask to be born, and then the mother died. I mean, I should have said amigo, not amigo. My bad. And also, going to the aspects of of us being removed from this planet, not existing anymore on this planet, is the moment we are born and we are raised and we grow up and all that, right? And it's ironic and funny how the government and other people, like a fucking drone, like fucking drones, excuse me, hive mind, where someone says one thing and the others will repeat. Someone does something and the others will repeat. We wanna tell people to have kids and all, and then the child is born and they grow up, and then they have to do what mommy and daddy did, or just the whole family did what they did. But at the same time, society is so rigged, it's so fine-tuned, specially fine-tuned in a methodical and specific way to fuck us over. We have to work till we die, we have to work and pay for every single thing just about. And then some people just can't take it anymore and they end themselves, they commit the procedure of taking their own lives. But at the same time, people want to offset, it's so stupid and retarded, this endless vicious cycle. You want to bring kids to populate the earth and enjoy life and learn from life and all that, but we barely got the time and the resources to do that. Especially our upbringing. Our upbringing is very, 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 very crucial and important. You're not raising kids, you're raising adults. Always remember that. But if you want to forget, then you're foolish and you're idiotic and retarded. No, I'm not raising adults, I'm raising kids. Because they're actual kids. You're fucking retard. That's what I'm saying. But that's a saying. You're not raising kids, you're raising adults. It's an actual saying. Because how you raise your child at one point in time will affect. It will affect them and impact them in the future. You think it's a joke? You can see it pretty much everywhere. A lot of people are fucked up. And it's like what Dr. Gregory House from House MD said, the TV program, the TV show. Most parents screw up most children. Yes. I mean, I can definitely agree with that. I can vouch for that because I experienced that. But those of you that did not, you're lucky. And I'm glad that you did not go through that. You did not have to go through that. But some of us had to, unfortunately, and he's right. He's absolutely right. Most parents screw up most children. A lot of us are fucked up in most kinds of ways. Most of us are fucked up. There's barely anyone that you might come across and stumble upon that are completely healthy. Even if they portray themselves to be like that, but not exactly. It's just a portrayal. A portrayal of dismissal of their actual true selves. And also because society said you have to be that way. You can't express your true feelings because no one cares, especially men. But yeah, society would prefer if nobody expresses their true feelings. They just want us to be pawns since the day we were born, and we were filled with scorn and we are torn. And then we have to serve them like, workers. I don't want to say the S word, right? Clave, that rhymes with cave. The S word that rhymes with cave. But we are pretty much that. Let's face it, let's be honest. Why can't we say it? Why shouldn't we say it when we are literally that? That's funny. So it's always this bullshit offsetting. Having kids and then raising them and then doing what most of us did, or pretty much everyone. I say pretty much because there's some people that are extremely lucky, those rich people. Yeah, they don't have to do what most of us had to. That's why a lot of us can relate and resonate with one another, because a lot of us have gone to schools. And then their respective schools, our respective schools have done this and done that, and then it's like, oh yeah, no way, we can relate. Same, similar, Same, real, If you go on YouTube and then you see someone post up a meme or any social medias and they say real, relatable, right? Or same. When you this and then blah blah blah, the captions, and then you type in the comments, no way, same here, same there, everywhere. Because it's all this formula and standard, and it's pretty much a prison, prison planet. You come here, immediately you have to do what you don't want to do. You have to do what you don't want to do against your will, reluctantly. You have to grow up, you have to be nursed, you have to be nurtured, you have to be wept and taught and raised and learn to read and write, walk. I mean, those things are good. And then go to school for those, to read, count, learn some things, write, spell. Yes, those are good, but then you also learn a bunch of things that are non-applicable, or it just doesn't make sense, or it's useless. You're not even going to use it in our livelihoods. It's just going to be forgotten. And then we wrote down all those notes in our notebooks and exercise books and all that for nothing. And then the things that we are supposed to learn aren't taught in schools. That's funny, isn't it? It's ironic. The things that we are supposed to be taught aren't taught. But some of the things that we are not supposed to be taught because it's irrelevant for the most part are somehow taught. It's so backwards, retarded and stupid. This is why I'll hate school forever with a burning passion. Personally. This is the shit I'm talking about. My mental health has declined severely because of school, amongst other reasons. It's because of school. Dead ass. Have to wake up, go to school, and then if you get bullied, it's worse. Or you can't really make friends, it's bad. Or your friends are not really your friends, that's terrible. And then you still have to do homework, you still have to do assignment, and then sometimes you go back late because the school holds you there. You cannot go back yet. You have to do all these things first, then you can go back. Like the teacher said, the bell doesn't dismiss you, I do. All that bullshit. And then you got co-curriculums. You go there, and then you come back from there and you're dead tired, and then you sleep, and then maybe it's insufficient rest, and then you still have to repeat the next day and on to the next, and so on and so forth. That's why I skipped a lot of my co-curriculums. Yes, I don't care if you call me lazy bones and all, because fuck school. Fuck school. But I kind of feel guilty, because looking back, I kind of wish I participated and joined. It's always this off timing. It's always this late timing, which is ironic because I'm a late bloomer and a slow learner and all that. It's always late, slow. That's how I'm born, unfortunately. All thanks to the quote-unquote most high, this demiurge up above, so high like a diamond in the sky, even though it's not a fucking diamond. It's a fucking coal. A bag of coal on Christmas Day because he's been a bad boy. Sakla the fool. Sakla the retard. The blind one, Sakla is Aramaic for the fool. The Yaldabaoth, Yaldabaoth, this demiurge, right? Slow, make me a slow learner, a late bloomer. Make me the R word, the restart. That's why I'm slow in a lot of things. A lot of people have caught on already and I haven't, because I'm born that way. Some people are too, but most people that I'm around are able to catch up like normal, and then I'm the only one, the outcast, the quote-unquote foreigner on this planet. Can't fit in. There's barely anyone that gets along, or it's always momentarily, it's always briefly, and then you see someone else that has it for the longest time, since they were young, and then in university and college they're still together. But some of us, our friends and all that, have parted ways. Or some of us never had friends to begin with, not true friends. But I had some quote-unquote true friends, but unfortunately they went their separate ways. But yeah, I'm going a little off topic. It's just foolish and stupid, you know? If you catch my drift. We are forced against our wills to work and slave away till we die. And then we don't want to do this upon our kids, you know? Even those people that feel the same way, but then at the same time, under the same light, in the same breath, they want to say, have kids, you know, it's good to have kids. That's ironic. You're doing these things which is suffering and is tormenting. It torments you and is struggling and is tiring and exhausting. And you don't want to lay it on others, or let alone your kids, but then you're still encouraging people to have kids. So what are you trying to say, you know? You say something and then you retract. You say something and then you pull back. By right, you should say don't have kids. Especially if you're a parent yourself. It's already struggling, isn't it? You have to work and you have to raise them, take care of them and all that. Dedicate some time to them, you know. Otherwise, mommy or daddy wasn't in their children's lives, you know. Always away. Mommy is always working, daddy is always working. Both of them are always working. I never really got to know them. Some other family member had to raise us, had to raise me. So I've known them more. And then they pass away, unfortunately, and then mommy and daddy are still distant, you know. They never really had a loving family, emotionally in tune families, you know. It's always distant. It's always far apart. So close yet so far. That rhymes. You know, it's like what most people have said, just because you're in the same household doesn't mean you face or you go through the same realities. You can have different, completely distinct, distinguishable realities, which is absolutely true, and I can definitely relate and resonate. It's the same way with me and my brother. You know, when in our younger years, when we were younger, I was taken care of more than my brother. He was pretty much neglected. Unfortunately, even I was taken care of by my grandmother. She wasn't really my brother's grandmother because for some reason she likes to neglect him, even though I told her many times, take care of him as well, don't leave him alone, don't neglect him. But she's so stubborn and she doesn't want to listen. So, you know, suffice it to say she's my grandma and not his grandma. But yeah, our parents were working. Guess what? You know? Here's one of the main things, one of the telltale signs that you should not have kids. In my situation, in my condition, location and position, is when I was born, both my parents were working. Why? Obviously financially unstable, right? Then why the fuck do you have kids? This goes out to other families too. If you're unstable in any facets, any aspects, you should have no kids at all. Maybe later on down the road. Why do you want to have it now? Oh, because your age, right? That's one of the main reasons why your age. You want to have kids from a younger age so that your DNA and genetics are fresher, you know, instead of being senior citizens and you cannot really have children. Then you can still adopt, or maybe you should have no children at all, straight up. Or you so obsessed with having children. But I can't really blame you at the same time. It's because of you being indoctrinated by your parents before you and their parents before them. You know, you should have kids. It's great to spread your genetics. It's great to have children of your own genetics, you know. But I'm just saying, you can always adopt if you're in your senior age and all. You're worried about reproducing and it's too late and all that. Don't worry, there's some older women that can still bear children and have given birth. Like previously, I've seen a woman from Hong Kong, I forgot her name. She's like an actress or something. She is 57. Yeah, 57, 57. And she gave birth to a son. And those couples have like 5 children already. Let that sink in like a submarine. Their latest son obviously being the 5th. So I guess all hope is not lost for women that are older, right? Older women, you can still give birth and still bear children in your senior ages. You haven't really quote unquote hit the wall. But obviously that's not all women or most women. Some cannot, some have hit menopause. But this woman that I spoke of, can still bear children and she has given birth successfully. She has given her son a birthday. Yeah, 57. But you should have had kids, you know. You already have a lot. You already have more than one. And you still want to have more kids, and then they have to do what mommy and daddy did and other family members. And then it just continues, you know. And then lay flat, hikikomori, you know. This planet is not really favoring us in our favors, according to our flavors, you know. Taking our papers. Yeah, just trying to rhyme. You know, you don't think you want to have kids, but at the same time your kids are, you know, no offense, I don't condemn them or anything, but the outcome is most likely gonna happen. When they realize that they have to do what mommy and daddy did, or other family members or just other people in public and society have to do, they're gonna be like us also. They're gonna be like, what's the point? They're gonna be hikikomoris and lay flat, let it rot, let it end. You know, it's no promise. There's no promise that they're gonna have a good life or whatever, even if they've been given a lot of things, born with a silver spoon in their mouths. They're still gonna realize that life isn't all that it's cracked up to be, you know. And then they're still gonna see all these philosophies and truths and wisdom like we did. But some of us, we don't have a choice, you know. If we were like normies and blue pill, we would want to go that direction and enjoy those things, you know, the fruits of life. But since we are fucked, we are screwed, we want to know more about why we are in these conditions and positions, locations and situations. So we learn about these things. But yes, some people learn because they love to learn. But for me, I learn about these things is because personally I ain't got a choice. Since I'm ugly and I'm intimidating and I'm fucked like a cuck, just my luck, and I suck, therefore I'm here. Hooray, right? A round of applause. But if I wasn't like this, I wouldn't have known. I would have still subscribed to religion. I would have had a girl, would have a family and all like I wanted when I was younger. Yeah. If you did not know, I wanted a family when I was younger. Because I mean, obviously I had a girl that liked me in kindergarten, you know. I started out great. Kindergarten, are you kidding me? Most people started out in middle school, you know, their teenage years. For me, I started out in kindergarten. It's rare, or maybe it's common, and yet it's not for everyone, right? Any of you here that started out good in kindergarten, where you already had a girl that liked you, and I mean truly liked you, like myself, and also a lot of friends? You're pretty much like a popular kid. If not, then yeah, you don't really understand, or you don't understand at all. But I had that, and then it got taken away from me. And then the last and final time was at 11 and 12. And after that, no more. And which leads me up to now. Nothing at all. Zero. From hero to zero. You know, let that sink in like a submarine. This the shit I'm talking about. I mean, even when I was growing up and all, I started to not want to have kids because it's a lot of responsibility and whatnot, and also I saw the way I was brought up. You know, my parents didn't really want me, especially my mom, so I thought maybe I don't want kids too. I don't want to give them grandkids. But at the very fucking least, I want a girl. You know, because that's what that's how humans are. That's what humans need, is companionship, partnership, you know, connections. Like a lot of us in this space, a lot of people in this space, especially guys, have said that we need connections, but yet we are starving for it. Not like that, but you get my point. And there are a lot of these cruel bastards and idiots and retards can have so many. You know, I've even seen some too. These cruel fucks get to have it so many times. You know, they speak it into existence. I want a girl right now. Snap of a finger, they already have. Or the same for girls. I want a guy right now, and they already have. And then us, don't even get us started. You know, it's a fucking joke and fucking bullshit. Even for myself, you know, I feel especially personally attacked and ridiculed and embarrassed because I had it, all those things, you know, I had it good, or at least mostly good, and then it got taken away from me, all thanks to yours truly. Look out the window up above. Yeah, the demiurge, the retard, Sakla the fool, the blind one. You know, I'm supposed to be like that Cheng, the Chang, the Sheng, the Chens, the Lees, the Asian Chats. But no, I'm empty-handed. You know, I ran out of ammo, I ran out of stockpile. I'm supposed to be like that generous Chang, you know, a generous Chang with a girl, and then power couples, and then people adore us, people look at us, wow, they're emanating such strong presence and energies, you know. Wherever I go, can make friends easily, chat, you know, hang out with the bros, and then some girls too, but I'll always be loyal and faithful to the one and only, because that's how I am. That's why my body count is still 0. Oops, now you know. Yeah, I mean, it's a given. You should know that I have a 0 body count, you know, being in this position. Yes, even though I had a girl that liked me, obviously I did not get laid because you were too young. You know, kindergarten and 11 and 12. Yes, right before I hit puberty. Even though I was 12 years old, but I didn't really hit puberty, you know, later on. But even though I hit puberty, I wasn't like that horny and attracted to her for some reason. But the moment I hit, I can't get any. The moment I hit puberty, I can't hit, you know. I hit my puberty, but I can't hit, so to speak, you know. I hit it and beat it. I smash and dash. I smack and dab. Whatever. Hit it from the back, make the nanny smack, you know. Shout out to the legend. I ain't got those. Never kissed. Never dated. Never had a Valentine's. Yeah, not even a kiss. Not even a fucking kiss. If I kissed a girl, it's my first fucking time. Let that sink in like a submarine. I mean, most people, they would have kissed already, right? They would have at least like dated or something. Maybe never had a Valentine's, but at least those two things, at the very least, is kiss and dated. For me, 0. None of that. Missed out on a lot. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know how I feel, what to feel. But then at this point in time, you can say I'm coping and all. And I don't really have the urge to do those things. which is why I'm not interested in relationships. Yes, coping, but also at the same time I'm dead ass. I don't know. I'm just pissed. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed that our existence and timelines and time zones and realities have warped, excuse my pronunciation, warped so much. It has warped and it has turned sideways, diagonal, 360 everywhere. It has become a contortionist for some reason, and then we don't know where we landed. We don't know where we crash landed into some timeline, into some universe, or a multiverse or something, you know. That's why some of us, we feel like aliens. Maybe this isn't the multiverse timeline that we belong in. We belong on some Earth 3000 or something, Earth 90,000. Not this Earth, this hell realm, this prison planet. You know? I just cannot fathom and wrap my finger around and digest the fact that my reality has changed and warped so much. I'm sure a lot of you can't as well. But it has, unfortunately. And we don't even know what to say, what to think, what to feel, how to feel. So much has changed. And yeah, some of you never got it to begin with, right? Like for me, I got it, but I lost it. It got taken away from me. So, I guess there's an exception to the rule for myself. No offense. I mean, you might as well not have given it to me in the first place, right? Then I wouldn't be so heartbroken and so uppity about it, up in arms about it, where I got it somewhat good in the first place, that double life where my home life sucked and then my kindergarten life was better, because it's not 100% good, it's better. I still had to go through some BS in kindergarten. Double life, you know, one side is good, one side is bad. You might as well not have given it to me at all. Like I said, then I wouldn't be so uptight and uppity about it. All up in arms, grumbling, complaining. I would have been fixated, you know. If I never got it in the first place, then it's set in stone that I'll never get it in the future, most likely. And some people are lucky, you know. They never got it in the beginning, and then they got it down the road. Some of us are like me, where we used to have it, but we never got it along the way, and probably never will again. Some people got it, they lost it, and then in the future they'll get it back. Some people never got it, and then they got it, and then they lost it again. You know, it's 4 outcomes. It's 4 outcomes, 4 possibilities. Or however many possibilities, you know. Once again, I'm going off topic, but it's kind of relevant to the topic at hand of this video, where society wants us to have kids, but at the same time is killing us. You know, we are dwindling in numbers, birth rates going down, but at the same time they say have kids, and then the kids grow up and they have to suffer, and then they probably take their lives because life is bullshit, this planet is BS, this existence is ridiculous, so they end it, you know. And then repeat, rinse and repeat, vicious cycle. Have kids, grow up, and then sick and tired of life, take their own lives, you know. They self-delete, they de-exist, they remove themselves, they exempt themselves, and then rinse and repeat. You know, it's so stupid. And then we still want to let it go on. We don't even want to banish. We don't want to banish and then they vanish. We don't want to protest. We don't want to start something, even though it's probably gonna lead to nowhere. You know, efilism. That's why life never should have been created. And I know some people disagree. It's just that life shouldn't be like this, but life should have been created, but just not in this way. I don't know. For me, I choose the former. Life should not have been created regardless in the first place, because we've seen it, being realistic and all that. As long as there's humans and the way we make things and whatnot, it's gonna repeat itself. Even if we go to other biomes and other planets, exoplanets, habitable planets, it's gonna be the same most likely. And then once it propels and it prospers and all that, there's gonna be some currency made again system, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Think of that, there's a planet called Nowhere, and they're from Earth. Nowhere also has the same. The planet Nowhere also has the same system or similar as Earth, where they have money, they have credits or something, right? When Peter Quill or Star-Lord with his gang, you want to get that stone, the Infinity Orb or whatever, Infinity Stone, excuse me, and they have to pay some credits, right? So I guess it's gonna be like that, a telltale sign. Knock on wood. I hope not. But the foolishness of humanity, the foolishness of 46 chromosomes, it's probably gonna rinse and repeat itself. All this stupidity, which is why I vouch for efilism. Or if it can be created, but just no humans. Or if you want to create humans, make sure it's in a better form. Maybe like the Gnosticism, where we come from the Pleroma, supposedly. We have the essence. We come from the essence of the Pleroma. And then we are surrounded by Helix. We're surrounded by these evil entities that are enemies to humanity, Shout out to the legend before the trolls got to him. I don't know. Sophia is kind of sus too, The mother, the deity, the goddess from the Pleroma that mistakenly created this evil god, Yaldabaoth, the Sakla, the fool, the blind one, the retard. And then she's not doing anything. She's seeming kind of sus, It's like what Hank Schrader or Dean Norris from Breaking Bad said, Walt, I don't know, man. You've been seeming sus lately. Sasi Baka, Sasi Gasi. But yeah, don't have kids, I'm about to end it. I think I've rambled long enough. Most of it going off topic, but somehow it's still relevant. Gets paid and neutered, Shout out to one of the channels that I watch, which I won't disclose. Gets paid and not neutered if you can't control yourself from having kids. Have your vasectomies or mastectomies. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. No, don't have kids, otherwise it's gonna be a vicious cycle, rinse and repeat. You work till you die, or you're working and struggling and all, and what is the point of living and whatnot? And then you have kids, and then they're gonna go through the same things, and then rinse and repeat. It goes in a circular motion, like almost like Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. That's what it should be. That's all.